Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Jim. I am back with another From Screen to Table episode for you to talk about, or to watch and then talk about, right? Link, hit subscribe, visit, hit the comment section, hit the bell so you get more video announcements, all that good stuff, all the usual stuff that you know to do here on the YouTube. If you want to see more of my content and you want to see more videos about Star Trek adventures, writing, publishing, etc., I am here for you. So last week I published the video on home soil and got some good feedback on it. Been talking to fans on the official Modiphius Discord and social media, etc. I've gotten a short list of more episodes to go through and work on. I got some fan feedback, so I was really excited about that. And today I thought I'd go old school and go check out a classic Star Trek episode. And this one is near and dear to my heart. I got it right here. Star Trek, the original series, the Galileo 7 classic. It's probably the first Star Trek episode that involves the shuttlecraft crashing, landing on a planet, and having to deal with stuff. It is also, I have in my hand here, the old photo novel published by Pocket Books. Bantam Books. Way back in the day, this is a photo novel. This is where they took pictures from the episode and put the dialogue into little windows. I think it's called a fumetti is the style. Anyway, so you got the whole episode here. This is the first adult book, adult style book I can remember reading as a kid, maybe 6 or 7 years old. Gosh, I don't remember really when was this published. I'd have to look. I'm not seeing a copyright date. Here we go. Well, this came out in 78, so it must have been 78, 79 when I read this. That was even before I read the Star Wars novelization, and before I read Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and before I read the Brian Daley Star Wars novels all about Han Solo. Those are some of my earliest readings. But this is the first book I can remember for sure picking up and reading on my own as a young person, outside of the board books and Richard Scarry and Dr. Seuss and that kind of stuff. This is the one I remember. I'm confident I watched this in reruns on the little black and white television that I had back in the day. But Galileo 7, near and dear to my heart as one of my first exposures to Star Trek, and I thought I'd take the opportunity and go ahead and pull it up and talk through it, much as I've done with a couple other episodes, and just see if we can look at it from the perspective of a game master and a gaming group to say, can we replicate this episode using the Star Trek Adventures Second Edition rule set and play through it, and well, the things that happened in the episode, how could we translate that into a game? What kind of insights can we get from this episode related to the game, so that if you are a new that's the wrong episode, darn it. Here we go. This should be that one. Sorry, getting my text set up here. There we go. Anyway, so as a prospective Star Trek Adventures gamer, can the rule set emulate the stuff that you see on screen? In general, I'd say yes, but we're going to talk about it here. And then, do you want to use? Is there any cool stuff in here that happens that we could apply to our own Star Trek Adventures games and campaigns, etc.? So this episode is what, 50 minutes long, give or take. I'm sure I'll take pauses in and out here to talk about it. So get settled in, get your favorite drink, get your favorite snack. I am not going to put the screen or the episode on screen. You're not going to hear the audio. I'm trying to be careful about copyright issues. I'm probably being overly cautious, but I'd rather err on the side of caution than not, because I want you all to benefit from this information and go boldly and tell really awesome Star Trek style stories with your group. And if that means going through an old episode and talking about how you could apply it to your episodes, then let's go for it here. So anyway, I'm starting up here. I'm just a couple seconds in. So let me just go back to the beginning here, just so that we're all working from the common frame of mind. All right. So again, this is Star Trek: The Original Series, Season 1, Episode The Galileo 7. Depending on who you talk to, it might be numbered differently. I've seen it numbered Episode 13, Episode 16, and Episode 17. So depending on what list you're looking at, Not sure about the number. Everyone's got their opinions about that. But suffice to say, the title is the Galileo 7 original series, season 1. Let's go. And hit play. Okay. Fade in on the Enterprise. Captain's log. En route to Macus 3. Medical supplies. Always a classic. Reason to get us started. They're going past Murasaki, a quasar-like formation. Some priceless opportunity for scientific investigation. Let me pause it right there. So right off the bat, right, we're seeing two big things that Starfleet's responsible for. So presumably you're running a Starfleet campaign. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're running something else. That's totally cool. But right off the bat, they're hitting two of the key things right off the bat. They're delivering medical supplies somewhere, so that's important. And opportunity for scientific exploration. Easy way to get started with an episode with your captain's log or a personal log, or when you're opening up your episodes in the middle of a travel from a point to another point. They are on the way to do something, so they're delivering medical supplies, but there's also an opportunity for scientific investigation. Oh, and in fact, I think the shuttlecraft is already on the way to the thing, and you got this administrator dude who's going to be the foil for Kirk in much of this episode. You have Ferris, because he wants the medical supplies to be delivered to the colonies. So this is, the entire function. Spoiler warning if you haven't seen this episode yet. Let me pause it here real quick. Pausing it at 53 seconds in. Ferris is here to act as a nudge and a foil for Kirk to say, "Hey, Kirk, you need to." He's the ticking clock, basically. He's saying, like, you have to go do this thing. I'm ordering you to go do this thing. And throughout the episode, Kirk is like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get there." So depending on your group and your players and your commanding officer, they may or may not be more or less resistant to the NPC constantly poking at them to make a decision, make a choice. That can be frustrating for players sometimes. Sometimes you just need to give them a little bit of a nudge, but just think about your group and your players' dynamic. Back to start. So it's 3 days in Macus. We've got time. We've got time to do a little bit of exploring. See, this is a commanding officer playing within the wiggle room. Ferris doesn't like to take chances, but Kirk sure does. Yeah, there's a plague. Gotta get the drugs there on time. Kirk's like, yeah, no problem. We'll get there. It's all good. And this, pause it here real system as Kirk starts talking to the Galileo. Oh, he's getting ready to leave. Okay, got it. Lost my train of thought. Let's keep going. It'll come back. All right, so shuttlecraft is in the hangar. Talking to Spock. The big space shuttle minibus. 7 people packed in there. A lot of room. Blank walls, no windows except for the front. Oh well, what do? It was the 60s. You could only do so much with your props and your sets. Off it goes. So Enterprise, while we're on the way to deliver these medical supplies, you go check out the science. Totally doable. In fact, let me pause it here real quick. This is a good way to so there's 2 things you could do here as a game master. One, if you have a big group all present at the table, you can split the party. Some of the party is going off in the shuttle to explore the science, and the other half is on the ship going to deliver the medical supplies. Now, if I remember right, this episode, it's not really about delivering the medical supplies. It's more about what happens on the planet with the shuttle. But if you've got a big group and you want both groups to have a lot of stuff to do, you could build a whole bunch of stuff for the medical officers and stuff to do with that medical thing when they deliver the medical supplies, and then have to go back and get the shuttle. So it just depends on what kind of structure you're looking for here. I think the big thing on the ship is Kirk butting heads with Ferris and trying to get things done. But we'll unpack that more as we get into it. But as a game master, this is an opportunity for you to split the party right at the beginning if you want to. If you think you have meaningful things for your 2 groups to do, like the shuttle doing their thing on the planet, and then the rest of the crew on the ship doing their thing. That's classic. I've seen that. I've done that tons of times in Star Trek sessions over the years, where Group A is in the shuttle, or Group A is on a away team, and Group B is on the ship doing the ship thing, and then they do their respective stories, and then it comes together at the end. That's really straightforward A plot B plot type of stuff. So you could totally do that here. The other option is, if you don't have a lot of players present for a game session, put all the player characters in the shuttle, send them off on the away team, and let the stuff happening on the ship just be a B plot that you summarize or tell the story about, right? But you don't really go into it. I think, having Kirk interact with Ferris is a great opportunity for a player character commanding officer to do, and that's why I really love having commanding officers as player characters, right? Because there's just so much stuff you can do with them that impacts the direction of the ship and the direction of the story and everything else. So I will always campaign to have player character commanding officers. But you know what? If there's nobody in your group who's comfortable doing that, fine. Put all the player characters on the shuttle, send the shuttle off on the away team, focus on the away team, and then the captain can say, oh, we delivered the medical supplies to the colonies, and Ferris was a real jerk throughout, but that's all good. You can always finesse it that way. So let's continue. We're 2 minutes into it here. We're back in the shuttle. Everyone's checking out the shuttle. You got a nice mix of crew here. You got McCoy and Scotty with Spock, along with four noobs. For the purposes of this, I mean, you got Latimer and Gaetano. Experiencing some quasars. Oh, Boma, that's right, Boma. Shuttle model rocking back and forth. I love it. So what we got here, we have a piloting, right. We're piloting, and we're experiencing some turbulence and issues from the quasar. So the quasar would certainly be a trait that's impacting this. Maybe increase the complication range. Tournament communication, they're out of control, being pulled directly into the heart of the pulsar. Murasaki 312, violent radiation on the outer hull. All the passengers are like, well, passengers are just along for the ride, nothing they can do. Having trouble with communications, so there's probably a communication task that got impacted by the traits as well, the pulsar and the other issues that are happening. Trying to do some science here. Kirk is using the science station to try to figure things out. Yep, there's radiation. So again, these are skill, attribute department tasks that they're attempting here. None of the instruments are working, so that's clearly, scene traits, maybe even a potent trait. I'd call that probably a potent trait. That's impacting the shuttle systems as well as the ship systems. And now it's out there somewhere. We can't find it because our instruments don't work. That sucks. Just a reminder that space is really, really big, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we go into the opening credits here. So we'll just skip ahead through the opening credits. Skip Shatner, skip Nimoy. And we're back on 5 minutes, 28 seconds. Quick captain's log, just updating us on what's been going on. Again, sometimes I do that in episodes. Sometimes I don't. I just want to get into the scene. But sometimes I give the players an opportunity to do a quick recap as we get into it. So, instrumentation's not working. We can't find the shuttle. Yeoman delivers coffee. Commissioner continues to poke at Kirk. Hey, go to the colony. You've got to deliver those medical supplies. Ferris just going to go, yeah, you lost your crew. Who cares? Get on with it. Get on with the mission. Kirk's like, screw you. I got to keep after my people. Second guessing him. Uhura successfully made a check to find that there's a planet out there, so that we can maybe go check out that planet. There's a planet in the Murasaki effect. Set course. And the shuttle landed on the planet. Here we go. Everyone's picking themselves off the ground. So pause here real quick. So clearly there was an opportunity here for a maybe that scene with the shuttle, crashing the shuttle, give everybody a chance to suffer some stress, or maybe attempt to avoid, maybe do a daring or fitness check or something to avoid being buffeted and damaged, or you can just impose it on them and say, okay, your shuttle crashed, everybody take 2 stress, and they'll recover it in due course. But you could just ping in with it. So everyone's picking themselves up, recovering. McCoy goes over to render first aid, or at least to check out everybody. Scotty, Boma, folks have headaches, for a ride. Yeoman's okay, she bumped her head. Gets her back up into the chair. Pulling out some science information here. Trying to extrapolate what happened. Maybe a little gather information. Oh, Spock. Picturesque descriptions will not fix things. So Scotty assessing the damage. Yep, it's whacked. Spock's like, well, that's not going to fix it. Spock. Good old Spock. Tries to use communications, fails. Communications not working. He's trying out the alternatives. Spock gathering up information, checking the instrumentation. Atmosphere is breathable. Not ideal, but breathable. So that was probably a quick difficulty 0 task to determine that. Give this group a chance to build up a little bit of momentum early on in the game. Let's move outside to give Scotty some room to work. You got the flip down phasers. So this is you could call this an opportunity cost, but I would probably make it opportunity cost 0, because like the shuttle is well stocked and supplied with phasers, tricorders, etc. So they just they arm up as needed. Got it there available to them. Carry on with the story. So they leave the shuttle. Not good chances of contacting the Enterprise, but they will start looking for us. And that's probably SOP, right? Standard operating procedures for Starfleet to go looking for people. So these folks at least know that someone's going to at least try to come look for them. But they're probably not going to find us, so we need to figure something out. Enterprise arrives around orbit of Taurus 2. Scan's not working. Scanners are still inoperative. So they tried plugging in auxiliary power, so that could have been a trait, but the potent trait of the Murasaki effect could still be a factor. There could be other damage factors here too, but so far the player characters have been unable to counteract the effects of that trait. So they tried beaming down some stuff to the planet. That didn't work. So that was probably a task in there, whether that was a player doing that task, that transporter task. And then Kirk wants the next shuttle to be warmed up. That's using the shuttle readiness options, right? You can have so many shuttles ready at any given time. Communications are blocked. Ferris is just being the nudge here. We've got time, Commissioner. Leave me alone. Get off the bridge. Politely. But not 1 second beyond that moment, I'm going to be a real jerk and just be real particular about this. So, if you have any doubts, I'm going to quote regulations at you. Kirk's like, I know the regulations. Leave me alone. I know about your authority. You know, take a hike. Politely. They sent the other shuttle out. So now they're outside examining the shuttlecraft. A little bit of a player character interaction here, maybe between McCoy and Spock, talking about opportunity for command. Because I guess in the franchise, like, Spock's only had so much opportunities for command up to this point. This is still season 1 original series, and so through Discovery Season 2 and Strange New Worlds, and here he hasn't had a lot of opportunities to actually be in command of something. He's always been the first officer or subordinate. He hasn't had a huge number of opportunities to be in command of something. So this is an opportunity for him to be in charge. So you got Scotty here doing a repair task, being assisted, working on that. This could be let me pause it here real quick. This could be an extended task, trying to repair the shuttle. Let me just make a couple quick notes here on my little notes so I don't forget. So this is to split the party between ship and ship. Simple task will be to help grow some momentum. Potent trait for the effects on technology. Extended task to repair the shuttle. Assists are happening. So it could be an extended task. It could also be you could do this as gated challenges. Maybe there's several things that have to be done to fix this shuttle, right? So we could do gated tasks challenges. Like maybe the game master has kind of laid out. There's several things wrong with the shuttle, and in fact we'll probably see that as we watch it. You have to do this, and then you have to do this, and then you have to do this. So it could be a linear challenge, it could be a gated challenge, or it could just be a general extended task, and it gives the player characters flexibility to try different things that might all have a positive impact on the extended task, right? So let's continue. We're 12 and a half minutes in, so we'll keep going. So they know they've got to lighten their load because they don't have a lot of fuel. Yeah. Spock's like, yeah, the weight of 3 grown men. Yeah, or that much equipment. We're not leaving anybody behind. Come on. And Spock's like, well, there's not a lot of excess equipment in here. Commanding officer, the choice would be mine. Yeah, so you got to decide, but you can draw lots. Yeah. You're right. Spock's. I'd be better than a random choice. My choice will be logical. That's brutal. Yeah, poor Spock. He's trying to use logic for everything, and it's just not a logical situation. Now let's stop talking and let's get to work. See if there's any more damage we've overlooked. Oh, that's rude. His heart. That's rude too. Boy, the unconscious racism present in this episode, man. These two guys are scouting around. Observation task here. Smoke, environmental trait. Uncomfortable environment because it's not the ideal breathing environment, so that's another trait that's impacting these poor guys. Right, so this is where traits are really important in second edition. You can really pile on the traits as a game master, and challenge your players to come up with, use momentum spends to and tasks to attempt to create traits to counteract those issues. So you can see all this smoke here, having a hard time seeing through it. They're having trouble breathing, just kind of those traits are having an impact. Big honking spear. Bad guy throws it. Slap. Bang. Guy's dead. Or mortally wounded. He was probably a minor NPC or support. Probably a minor NPC or supporting character, if that. And he fires his phaser and misses. Or, well, actually, probably misses. Just laying down, covering, suppressing fire here. The guy's got a spear in his back. You can see the layer of fog here. Oh, and cut to commercial. We're 15:25 in right now. So resume. Spock and McCoy show up. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Boma. Spock and Boma show up. You vaguely saw it because of the environmental traits that are present. So Latimer's gone. Spock looked around. And Spock, ever the logical assessing the weapon, gathering information, not really focused on the body that's in front of him and the impact that body has on the other people, but gathering information. Yeah, but almost like there's a man lying there dead, and you're looking at a spear. What's up with that? Well, gotta gather information to survive. So. Yeah, he's just really Spock's coming across as really unlikable right now, but it's justifying. I get it, right? He's the outsider, and I think they're trying a little too hard to make him be the outsider, but it happens, right? I see it. Back to the ship. Meanwhile, so cutscene. Back to the ship. So they're still searching. So this is where you would probably cut to a scene before this, like go from the away team to back to the ship and give the players an opportunity to do some more search rolls or to brainstorm different ways that they could search and hold them off, or there's the potent trait present in the sector is a problem. They can try different things. At this point, this particular crew has failed to make any headway, and you've got Ferris on the bridge again, being that ever-present nudge for Kirk. The Columbus returned. Oh yeah, so there's another opportunity right there. If you want to split the party even further, have that. So the second shuttle goes out and comes back empty-handed. So that's an opportunity if a player wanted to say, oh, I want to go search too. Let's take another shuttle out and go search. There's a calculated risk there, right? Because that shuttle could get lost as well. So that's an opportunity for the commanding officer to decide, do I want to send another shuttle and crew out, or do we keep them here on the ship? So again, that's why I think it's great to have a player character commanding officer, because they would get to make that kind of choice or decision, or make the commanding officer a supporting character, so that players have an opportunity to play the CO without being the CO, right? So that's something to think about. Okay, let's continue. So we were, 1745 in? So let's keep going. Keep moving and efficient here. Transporters are unsafe because of the interference. Captain, yes, Commissioner. Sorry if we leave them behind, but gotta get you going. Yeah, and this is Ferris's main job, is to you're running out of time. I know. Let me get on with it. So the Columbus will continue to do searching. Yeah, don't second guess me, Sulu. Mind your helm. Yeah, Ferris. 24 more hours, Captain, and now I'm leaving. Just gotta get that last little dig in there before I leave the bridge. Jerk. Okay, so now we got the extended task probably continues, or maybe this is a new extended task for this repair. Scotty's working, Spock's assisting. They're moving equipment around. This is probably equipment that they can get rid of, but there's probably not a whole lot of equipment that they can get rid of because it's a pretty lean shuttle as it is, but talking about rationality, maybe you should start. The services for Latimer. Spock's like, what? Yeah, you're commanding officer. It's your place to say something. Oh, Spock is like, I wasn't thinking of that, but I need to fix a shuttle. No, it's on you. Yeah, the Spock applying logic and just not. Oh man, tough place to be. But this is where Spock's player character has his values, right? And is probably leaning into those values and saying like, no, this is how I am. This is how I think. And the NPCs and the other player characters are like, oh man, that's not cool. But this is Spock, rightly or wrongly, sticking to his values and his beliefs. And I don't think there's a determination call here yet, but you can still pull on your use your values as reference tools to say, what would my character do in this situation? No, he'd be super logical. We don't have any fuel. There's alternatives. Something going on outside. Oh, all right, better go check it out. They can hear the sounds. So, task there to interpret what they're listening to. Artifacts are too primitive for a tribe. Loose association of some sort. So trying some anthropology here. Trying to come up with ideas on what to do. That's easy for Spock. I don't have regard for life. What? To take life indiscriminately. Majority. This isn't majority rules here. Let's pause that for a second. I'm pausing at 22 minutes in. So honestly, this is the thing about Star Trek, right? It's not necessarily majority rules. It's what the commanding officer ultimately decides to do. It's not really a democracy, and there's a fine line to play here with your game group, where if your game group uh, doesn't doesn't isn't super well immersed in Star Trek, they might have some resistance to a commanding officer saying, "No, we're going to do this, and let's do that," as opposed to it being a kind of a diplomatic back and forth, let's come to a consensus kind of thing that you see in other shows and other games. Not to say that Spock's being a dictator here, certainly, but he's trying. He's got his logical brain that he's trying to adhere to. And where if this was in a game group, it would probably be more of a consensus. I mean, I think the vast majority of Star Trek RPG episodes I've ever seen it's always been the group being working to a consensus and then going and doing things. And it's very rarely had to be a commanding officer saying, "No, let's do this." They always evaluate the totality of the input and then make a decision. But for dramatic effect, they're having Spock be um, a bit more firm in his beliefs. Not to say you couldn't do it in an RPG, certainly. If your group is comfortable with it, go for it. You and Mears return to the shuttle. You guys follow my orders. Don't fire unless I tell you to. We're going to fire to frighten, not to kill. Yeah, Gaetano's like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you bet. Again, this is them generating some tension between the Starfleet crew, and it's tricky, right? I mean, ideally, Starfleet wouldn't be um, at such odds with each other, but you got to have some dramatic here, or some drama here for the sake of television. So they're crawling through the caves, or crawling through the rugged terrain here. So you got difficult terrain, maybe. You've also got environmental effects. So you've got several traits here working against the player characters that can influence the difficulty and complication level of tasks that they're attempting. There was a spear that got missed, so they were ambushed. Fails, throws a shield that falls and misses. You're gonna check it out. That's a big shield, man. From that angle and point of view, it's a really big shield, or whatever it is. It may not be a shield specifically, but whatever that device is or thing is. So you have the thick mist impacting sight, but not impacting hearing so much. Still an environmental trait that's playing into it. Spock tells them, "Get ready to fire when I tell you to." They're in ready pose and fire. So they're just taking shots, attempting something. Unclear. Like, it's a little unclear because I don't have the sound on. But like, what did that do? Was that shooting just to make a show? Probably just showing off, showing the power of the phasers. Whether that actually had an impact on the characters or the NPCs or not, hard to say. A show of force, maybe. They left Gaetano out there. Red shirt target without being a red shirt, right? He's wearing gold, but clearly red shirt mentality. Although he did get a name, so there's something there. So meanwhile, the player characters, McCoy and I'm going to pause it at 25, 22. Meanwhile, so you probably would have done a cutscene somewhere so that Scotty and McCoy had a chance to interact with each other and the NPC yeoman to talk about the repairs ongoing. So that now you've got three potential groups, right? You've got the crew on the ship, if that's the player character Kirk, and everybody else, and then you've got Spock and the two NPCs probably, and then you got McCoy and Scotty in the shuttle. So this is dynamically moving from scene to scene and moving from little group to little group, all at the game table. If you're playing in person, or if you're playing online, just bouncing around the different groups. But this just shows how Star Trek, being a television show, really lends itself to splitting the party, right? Like other games, you don't want to split the party, but in Star Trek, it's almost baked in, right? It's almost expected that you're going to have different groups of characters doing different things, all driving toward the same ending of the episode. So you've got these little different situations going on, and they're all working together. And so don't feel don't be shy about splitting the group, because it's really normal. And Star Trek Adventures is really built to enable that, because you can have player characters playing supporting characters, you can bring in NPCs, etc. So like if we were to break this down, maybe there's like 4 or 5 players here, and some of them are playing the supporting characters, Gaetano and Boma, while their mains aren't on screen, literally and figuratively. Or maybe Kirk, maybe Bill is playing Kirk, but he's playing one of the other characters as a supporting character. Maybe he's playing Boma, or he's playing Gaetano or something. Just so that the players are involved in every scene, even if their main character is not. Star Trek is really well suited for that, and players, depending on your player, might be comfortable with that too. I like to play main characters as well as supporting characters. I've had players who really just want to play their character and don't have any interest in playing supporting characters, because they just want to focus on being the best that they can be at their specific main character. But for players who are comfortable with like troop style play, and are comfortable playing supporting characters, and don't want to be left out, right? They want to be involved in every scene, even if their main character is not involved in every scene. Supporting characters is a great way to do that. So maybe the Yeoman and Boma and Gaetano, and even Latimer maybe, are all supporting characters, while the mains are not on screen. Although I guess Latimer, maybe he was an NPC. He was just easy cannon fodder for the game master to start ratcheting up the tension. Anyway, so we'll continue here. 25, 22 in. Try to keep it moving along here. So we need a fuel supply. We don't have a substitute supply. This guy's like, yeah, we do. I can adapt the phasers. So that's a little bit of brain work from Scotty there. It'll take time. So there's got yourself another extended task here, potentially. And this is a tough command decision, right? I'll keep talking. So the best way for us to have enough fuel to get out of here is to drain our phasers of energy. But we have a problem. we're on a planet with hostiles actively engaging us, and we need our phasers for defense. So what's the balance point? Do you protect yourselves with your phasers, or do you drain your phaser energy and try to get off the planet? So that's a great command decision that somebody has to make a decision to do, right? So the players can debate that all they want, but ultimately it's got to come down to the commanding officer to make a decision. We're either going to do this or we're not going to do it. So Spock decides to go with the phaser options. He hands the phasers to Scotty, and Scotty gets to work. Again, this could be a gated challenge. This could be an extended task. It could be a gated challenge. Drain the drain the phasers. B, convert the phaser energy to shuttle fuel. I don't know. And meanwhile, back on the ship, we've got the crew trying to test the transporters. Can we make this? Can we make them work? Okay, so now we've got Kirk, commanding officer. Now I'm going to start arranging search parties to go search for this planet. And our sensors don't work, so we have no idea where on this planet we're searching. And even small planets are really, really big. So it's going to take a while to start getting landing parties down to the planet to start searching. But at least they're trying something, right? So that's an opportunity for player characters to do some stuff if they've been left behind. They're throwing rocks. So this poor guy, supporting character, is getting in trouble here. He's in combat. He's trying to run. Oh, can't climb. Uh-oh. He's going to get ambushed. Poor guy. Oh, here comes the big bad. The big rock. And what do? Terrified. Intimidated. Oh, and now he's dead. So let me pause that real quick. So how would you play that out in a game situation? So it's probably a supporting character being played all by themselves. And you got the big bad guy coming up. Oh, I didn't pause it. You got the big bad guy coming up. And it's like, no, don't hurt me. And then he just gets squished. So that could be that could have been intimidation, right? That could have been just a scene trait, like a potent scene trait, this horrible thing coming up, and maybe just the character just being overwhelmed and stunned even, right? Maybe they've been stunned, and this is just the effect of being stunned, is that he tried to climb out, fell down, failed, it just can't do something, and then the bad guy just comes up and, okay, you're dead. You're a supporting character, so yeah, take care of it. So he had a couple ways you can play with that, or just narrate it for dramatic effect. While you were at the shuttle, the other guy got ambushed and killed. So they go looking for him. They find his phaser. Still has a charge. Well, we can use that for fuel. Spock over the practical one. Yep. Another commentary on Spock's callousness. Spock has a scientific curiosity about what's become of Mr. Gaetano. So I'm going to go look for him, but I'm going to give you my phaser first in case I don't come back. So, you know, that's to Spock's credit, right? He's thinking about the big picture. He's like, I may not come back, but if I don't come back, here you can use my phaser as fuel, so maybe you all can get out. So, you know, there's something there that you know, McCoy and Boma probably ignored. Didn't really see that forest for the trees, or leaves for the trees, or whatever. So Spock, you know, Leonard, player character, I'm gonna go look for Gaetano. So he's, you know, doing his searching, looking around. Probably low level task here, because obviously the game master wants him to find the body, so it won't make it particularly hard, but give the player characters an opportunity to gather up a little bit of momentum. Or maybe the player just took the initiative and said, I'm going to go look for Gaetano. Found him, picked him up. Well, he's got to come back to the ship. Put him with Latimer. So you could make the body a trait impacting Spock. You know, carrying a body, that has an impact on your ability to get stuff done. Oh, and someone threw a spear. Oh, now you're under attack. Okay, so not only am I carrying this body, but now I'm under attack, and these spears are flying everywhere. And he makes it back to the shuttle. As the creatures grow near, everybody comes out to check it out, and they bring the body inside. Interesting. Scott's like, well, okay, I'm going to keep working. Grim duty there, right? He's busy trying to repair the shuttle while his companions are being picked off one by one. But he's working on it. He's got his job to do, right? Scotty's focused on his extended task. Like how Spock is just kicked back here. Musing. Yeah, they didn't say very frightened very long, did they? No, it was so illogical. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, the logical man in an illogical world. Classic storytelling. Did you ever think they might react with their emotions? Oh no, I didn't think of that. That's not logical. Emotions aren't logical. No, they're not. They're really not. studying us. Oh, now they're shaking the ship. They're hitting the ship with rocks. Seal the windows. Scotty, get on with it. Let's go. Yeah, boy, we could use a little inspiration. She put the point on it, right? Hey, commanding officer. Here, let me pause it. Hey, I gotta go back a little bit just to catch the dialogue. Hey, commanding officer, we could use a little confidence boost here, a little inspiration. Help us out. Spock's like, that's not logical. Why would I do that? This is great. This is a great test for Spock as a commanding officer, right? So this is a good opportunity for the game master to give the player character an opportunity to be in command, right? And I've done this sure plenty of times in my campaigns, given the younger players or the younger officers or the players who haven't had a lot of command experience either in real life or in the game, opportunities to do stuff like this. Oh, you're on an away team? Okay, you're in charge. Oh, you've got a work detail on the ship? Okay, you're in command of the two-person team. What do you do? Something goes wrong. It's on you to make the choice, make the decision. And not to say that you're not pushing the player to make a choice that's outside of their comfort window, right? Necessarily. But you that's how you grow, right? You grow by pushing and prodding just a little bit. And obviously you've done a session 0 with your group, and you've got a sense of how much you can push and whether people want to be pushed, and you just make it work. But so for Leonard here, wanting to get some more command opportunities for Spock, the game master threw this one at him, and there's some real great moments in here. It's like, okay, so not only are you in this hard situation, but you've got NPCs and supporting characters around you who actively don't like you or actively don't like the choices you're making. And in the case of the yeoman, is probably an inexperienced officer, understandably nervous about the situation and is looking for a little bit of a confidence boost. And of course, you're going to look to your commanding officer for that because they're in command. You would hope that they would provide some encouragement. We're sick of your logic. We need some inspiration. So continuing here at 32:30. So yeah, and this is Spock coming to the realization. I've been logical this whole time and it's not working. So what's the next step, Spock? You gotta figure it out. And I made you guys mad at me. This doesn't make any sense. Less analysis, more action, Spock. Come on. Scotty needs more time. It's like, sorry, I'm still working. And phaser can only drain so fast. Like, you can't change the laws of physics, even if you want them to. How long will the shuttle hold out? And so that's a good place to cut the scene. Like, what do we do? We're in trouble. Things got worse, right? Pause it here real quick. Pausing it at the 33:25 again. So again, this is classic storytelling. You get your characters up a tree and you throw rocks at them. You keep throwing rocks at them until the resolution of the story. So the people in the shuttle just got another rock thrown at them, right? It's going to take another hour, maybe 2, for them to solve things. The creatures outside banging on the shuttle with a rock. How long is the shuttle going to hold out? And they have to come up with a solution, but their primary engineer is busy, right? If you pull Scotty off of converting the fuel, then you're not going anywhere. So the rest of the group has to step up and figure out what to do. So that's a great place to cut scene. Okay, we're stuck. And in fact, that's also a good way to cut scene. Is you may not get the little bon mot or great turn of phrase that naturally ends the scene and leads you to the next scene. It's totally okay if your players are sitting around the table staring at each other like, now what do we do? And they're all either in literal brain lock because they don't know what to do next, or they're like, maybe they're going around the table and they're having a conversation and options are flying left and right and they just can't come to a decision. It's okay as a game master to say, all right, let's cut scene. Give you guys, give you folks a chance to think things through. I'll focus on Kirk and everybody else over here for a little while, and then we'll come back to you. I'll give you a chance. Think about it, take a break, get a drink, and then we'll come back. So you don't have to end every scene on something cool, right? Like the cool little moment or the cool little bit of dialogue or something. You could just say, all right, you guys need a minute to think. Take that time. We'll cut scene and move on. I think that's just a matter of learning your group and your group's tendencies, and them being comfortable with letting go. Like instead of just sitting there focused on analysis paralysis, let's try to figure this out. Give them a minute to breathe and go focus on somebody else, and then continue it. So that that's a good way to make it work, and it still feels like Star Trek. So meanwhile, back on the ship. Quick update from Kirk. Nothing's changed. We're still trying to navigate the search here. So we need to get to the colony at some point. You got Ferris dogging Kirk at every turn. You need to leave in 2 hours. You need to leave in 1 hour 59 minutes. You need to leave in 1 hour 58 minutes. Kirk's like, get off my back. But having to do it politely because he doesn't want to offend Ferris. I'm going to continue the search down to the last possible moment. That's what I'm going to do. If you would just leave me to my job, I'll do it. And Ferris is just nudging him and noodling him. So clearly this is the game master using an NPC to just keep picking at the commanding officer. Which, as a player, I've been on the player side of that. It's so frustrating. It's really frustrating. So your group, your player, your commanding officer player may not appreciate it. Like, I mean, it's one thing to know that the pressure's on, but then it's another thing to have someone constantly poking you for no good reason other than to ramp up the tension. Okay, so now here's the situation. They've made the command decision. Okay, Scott, we've got to pull you off the fuel, and we're gonna energize the shuttle hull plates. So now we're gonna put the gloves on and do this thing to scare off the bad guys. So this has created a delay, right? So now instead of them moving on. All right, thanks, Scott. Get back to work now. So this is the players. Maybe they decided, or maybe Spock decided, look, Scotty, you need to take a break from the fuel conversion and help us with this other thing. Nope, having a little bit of conflict here. So let me pause here. That was nice, actually. That was McCoy and Scotty standing up for their superior officer and following protocol, right? Like, Boma, you may not like Spock, but you still gotta respect the rank. Like, if you don't respect the person, respect the rank. And Boma's stepped over that line. Probably it's a stressful situation. That's fine. But it was nice to see that both McCoy and Scotty stepped up and said, "Hey, wait a minute, that's not cool. You gotta rein it in a bit here, Boma." So he'll get his funeral, so to speak. And Scotty's like, "Oh well, I guess I better get back to work." And cut back to the ship. Still conducting landing parties. So let's pause this real quick here. So those landing parties. No, actually, I'll keep it running. So those landing parties are ongoing, going up and down. That whole coordination logistical thing could be a good process for an operations officer, or in this case, it's Uhura doing double duty as operations and communications, most likely. And they're talking, here's some new information, right? One of the landing parties ran into some of those creatures and is giving some information. So that's giving the commanding officer and the other players on the ship some context about what the landing party is probably experiencing. So that's good. So these little landing parties that were kind of throwaway comments here for the ship to be doing stuff. Oh, here's new information. Go to sickbay. Give the chief medical officer something to do if they're not already on one of the away teams. Oh, and here's Ferris again. Just game master, just in case you or hey player commanding officer, just in case you weren't sure, it's time to go. You have to go. And now I'm going to assume command of the ship. So I order you to abandon ship. Wait, I've got search parties out. Oh, but wait, you're procrastinating. I'm like, well, yeah, but so now Kirk's up against it, right? He's like, fine, bring the search parties up. Call back the shuttle. Prepare to abandon the search. So he's paying lip service to Ferris here, saying, yeah, okay, fine. You've pushed and pushed and pushed, and now you've made the threat, and Kirk realizes probably at some level that he's done about all he can do. Cutscene. We got a quick summary here. Still too much interference. Course laid in for the colony. Stand ready, Mr. Sulu, but don't go just yet. 23 minutes until the shuttle comes on board. 23 minutes. Well, let's take use of that 23 minutes. So Kirk, not willing to give up his crew, he is going to stay to the last possible second. Cutscene. Meanwhile, and that might even be a place where Kirk is checking his values too, right? Like, I'm not leaving my people behind. A few hours of orbit. We can cut out of orbit and save enough fuel for controlled re-entry so that we don't crash again. You get 8 minutes to bury Gaetano and have a quick service. And I'll help you. Okay, fine. We're getting ready to go. So things are wrapping up here. They've got the almost done with the extended task. They're all almost done with all the things that they need to do. Here's the Columbia coming back to the shuttle bay. So 23 minutes later, we're getting ready to go. You're like, okay, the shuttle's on board and the away parties are on board. Okay, proceed on course at normal speed. Wait, what? Space normal. I guess that's impulse. We're not going to warp. Direct all of our search beams aft. Keep searching. So Kirk is creeping away, but trying to give the away team every possible moment. So they're gonna bury him. No, don't come back for me. He got pinned, so that's probably a combat situation task, maybe a trait. Pinned by rock, right? And then they go. They're all on board. Let's go. Lift off. We're not going to leave you behind. You might leave us behind, but we're not leaving you behind. Why aren't we going anywhere? They're holding us down. Oh. Our boosters. So he's dumping all the energy into the boosters. Let's go. Well, now we've burned up all of our power. We're not going to be able to maintain orbit. We're not going to be out there very long. Now what do we do? So they're breaking through the atmosphere. Desperate situation here. By coming after me, you may have destroyed your chances of living. You should have used logic. Well, again, Spock, logic doesn't always apply. We got enough for one orbit. We can do one orbit around the planet, and then we're going to crash. Jeez. Yeah. You'd rather die in space or die crashing on the planet, Yeoman? Yeah. I thought you said there was alternatives. Yeah, you're right. No, maybe I was mistaken. Come on, Spock. The Enterprise is on course for Makus 3 by now, so they're probably not going to see it. Doesn't believe in angels. His first command. Okay, we're in orbit. 45 minutes. Leonard's thinking about his options here. What do I do? Let's try communications. That didn't work. You still got the environmental trace. You still got the pulsar potent trait impacting you. But wait, inspiration strikes. Wait a minute. What if I dump all the fuel and I'm just going to do it? See, and this is a commanding officer just making a decision. Dumps all the fuel into the boosters. Let's go. What have you done? Everyone's like, what'd you do? You jettisoned the fuel and ignited it. But we needed that fuel to maintain orbit. Are you out of your mind? Well, maybe, but it was a desperate gambit. 6 minutes. He's blazing a light across space in desperate vain hope that someone's going to see it. Cutscene. Back on the Enterprise. They're scanning aft. They're creeping away from the planet. Hey, wait a minute. We detected something on screen. What is it? It's a slash of fire across the planet. Wait a minute. Let's analyze it. Turn around. It's them. It's them. Kirk's gamble paid off. Right? It worked. There they go. That's where they are. They're going to go find him now. And Scotty, to his credit, he figured it out. Smart guy. Scotty, oh, wait a minute. You. Alright. 10 seconds atmosphere. This may be the last action you'll ever take, Mr. Spock. Well, nice knowing you all. Spock made the illogical choice, and it turned out to be the right one. Lesson there for Spock to think about, right? Maybe there was a value challenge in there, and he decides to rewrite that value, whether he challenged it or not, I guess. Oh, we're starting to burn up in the atmosphere now. All they can do is wait. Did the flare work? Did Spock's gambit work? And actually, this is probably a good role-playing moment too, right? Your characters are in a shuttle, burning up into the atmosphere, heading down. Nothing you can do. What are your thoughts in your last moments, in your character's last moments? And beam them out. Whatever it was, it just burned up in the atmosphere. Bye-bye, Galileo. Oh, I think we see it again later in the series, don't we? I think I'd have to go check. Maybe they just renamed another shuttle the Galileo, or Galileo 2, maybe. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, Kirk, your gamble paid off, and Spock's gamble paid off. So both of them were doing something risky. Kirk was just waiting to the last, very possible moment to try to make something happen, and Spock just dumped all the fuel into the. Yeah. Now we can proceed to make his 3 at like warp 30, right? Warp factor 1. Warp factor 1? What? Wait a minute. Kirk not feeling the urgency of the situation here. I think my players would probably say, "Did we get everybody? Is everybody safely on board the ship? Okay, warp. Best speed, maximum speed. Strain the engines. Let's get us there as fast as possible so that we get Ferris off our back." Now we got the little coda / denouement thing here. Hey Spock, you were pretty illogical, but it all worked out. Oh, maybe it was an act of desperation. Little character kibitzing here. And they're needling him about his logic. Is this appropriate? Probably not. But the group dynamic here is probably letting it go. The character dynamic, or the dynamic between the players, these 3 friends, right? Leonard, D, and Bill are probably buddies, and are okay needling each other like this. I may or may not do it. I don't know. As a game master, I'd probably just keep an eye on it and make sure no one's actually being offended or hurt or anything. It's not. It's just you got to play it by ear, right? It wouldn't fly at a convention scenario with strangers or whatever, but yeah, literally insults him here. Hey, did you know you committed a human act? No, I didn't. And then they're laughing at him. Yeah, inappropriate in modern, day and light. But I guess the '60s were different. But don't know that excuses it. But and laugh track as we go to everybody's laughing. Oh, that's Spock. That funny, goofy Spock. Yeah, it's not cool. Anyway, all right. So there you go. There's the Galileo 7. So probably pretty straightforward, right? There weren't any big crazy challenges in there. Kirk's gamut worked. Spock's moment of inspiration, determination use, value challenge, right? Because like maybe his logic value, logic is the means to everything. He challenged that, and he's like, oh, maybe I need to do the illogical thing here and make it work. So I'd say that's a great place where he spent some determination to kind of like break through that mental block of everything must be logical, and go on from there. So great episode for an RPG. You're splitting the party, doing different things. You're giving everybody something to do. On the ship, you got the commanding officer foil. You got Ferris constantly poking and prodding you, and you can see throughout the entire episode that was the only reason that NPC was there, was the push and prod Kirk. How to make that more interesting? I would give Ferris some sort of deeper connection to one of the characters, so that not only is it a professional situation where he's poking and prodding you to get on with the mission, but there could be some other personal stakes involved there too. So maybe at one point he was like a mentor to Kirk, and so Kirk could have to balance the personal and the professional aspects of it, right? Like this isn't my friend telling me to do this. This is my administrator or whatever. So you could play with that a little bit, or have a different player character have a connection to Ferris, and then have like a three-way tension thing going on where the player character is like, oh, you should really do this, Captain. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it, but he's my friend and it could impact me, and like you could have that whole dynamic interaction. On the ship also, there was opportunities for other things to do, right? So like there were different landing parties going to the planet. There were the shuttlecraft going out there. So your operations character or your communications character, like Uhura, even though you didn't see a lot of it on screen, if this was in a role-playing situation, Uhura probably had a lot to do coordination-wise. Probably not a lot of like task roles necessarily, but a lot of role-playing. A lot of role-playing opportunities for Uhura in this one. And sometimes, especially with Star Trek Adventures, sometimes your game session's perfectly valuable and fun if you're doing role-playing interesting stuff and you're not necessarily clattering the dice on the table, right? I mean, every player has different tolerances for what they enjoy in a game session, and maybe your Hura just really likes to do the RP, and maybe doesn't care as much about rolling the dice, right? So a lot of opportunities for stuff on the ship, and then of course on the planet, you got Scotty leading all the efforts on the extended tasks, most likely. And you got Spock and McCoy and the other NPCs or supporting characters, just reacting to what's happening. So yeah, I would call this a pretty straightforward kind of episode. But I mean, it's classic, right? This is the first episode crashes on a planet, and hijinks ensue. I think every Star Trek series has a shuttle crashing episode, or more than one, right? Where the characters have to do something to get out of their situation while the people on the ship or on the station are dealing with their things, and then it all gets resolved at the end. So this is a great place to put in, not to say a filler episode, but if you need, if you're running a campaign that has a meta plot and you need to intersperse that meta plot a little bit with one-offs, or just something interesting that happens while the meta plot's happening, this is a great kind of episode to drop into that. How to make it more interesting for the people on the planet? Well, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can throw at them, right? You can use the exploration guide to create new biomes and new situations in the biome, to create plot hooks and situations. They can encounter creatures. They can encounter a civilization. Maybe there's something underground. Maybe there's some strange flora or fauna that they can interact with. There's no shortage of things that the people on the planet dealing with the crashed shuttlecraft would have to deal with while they're trying to get off the planet and move on. Same thing with the landing parties that are trying to find them, right? If a player character is in charge of one of those away teams, they could encounter stuff too. And then, like what you saw in this episode, they're feeding that information back up to the ship. The ship has more context. The commanding officer has more context to use to take to the next decision tree. And it's like, okay, now we know this. Let's plan for that. So yeah. Again, this episode's near and dear to my heart. It's one of the first episodes I've ever watched. First book I ever read. So a lot of fun here. I have certainly used elements of this in all of my Star Trek campaigns and in many of my episodes. Great opportunities for command decisions from both Kirk and from Spock. So that's two of your player characters getting some really cool command opportunities. It's lots of good role playing. It's some good tension between the characters, and also tension between a player character and an NPC, trying to egg them on to go on to do the next thing. And a little bit of science and some opportunities for extended tasks and challenges, trait usage, value usage, determination. We didn't really talk about threat. I guess I could have brought up threat. The creature on the planet, advancing, moving things along, attacking the different NPCs, throwing the spears, hitting the shuttle, holding the shuttle down while they're trying to take off. That was probably some judicious, I can't talk. Judicious use of threat. So lots of cool stuff here. Would love to hear your thoughts. How would you have done this differently? How would you incorporate something like Galileo 7 into your Star Trek Adventures games or campaigns? Would love to hear it. Drop a comment down below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell button if you want to hear more of these videos. If you have a suggestion for a video for me to tackle to add in here so I can talk about it, I got 2 or 3 more to come from suggestions that I've already gotten, which I'm looking forward to. From a spread of different series. But yeah, so this was a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hour and 18, so not too horrible, but hopefully you queued up the episode, had a good snack, and had some fun. So thanks for your time. Appreciate you all. Live long and prosper. See you all next time.